Welcome to the Personify Leadership Podcast, the podcast where we explore the transformative journeys of leaders who have embraced the principles of Personify Leadership to drive success within their own organizations. Hello, CJ. Thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Thanks, Michelle. So my name is CJ Jackson. I am the Director of Organizational Development for a public utility here in Omaha, Nebraska called Omaha Public Power District, or OPPD. And my area is really responsible for a variety of things inside of my organization, one of them being leadership development, culture and engagement, and talent management and performance management.
Okay, great. So you had a large portion of your team certified in our program within the last year. Tell us a little bit about what drew you to Personify, what made you select our program, and then I know you've started rolling it out to a lot of your leaders as well. So share with us a little bit about the initial impact that you're starting to see in your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been I call it a nice journey for us. So I first heard of Personify, I want to say a couple of years ago, just in passing the circles that we tend to kind of migrate within from a leadership development perspective. I heard it mentioned, and I did a little bit of research back then, but I was looking for another team member when I first came into my role a little over a year ago, and that person had brought up Personify again. They were like, "Oh, I'm certified in Personify Leadership. Have you heard of it?" And I was like, "Oh, it's been a minute, but thank you for bringing it back to the forefront of my brain here." And I said, that is something that is an amazing program. I've heard nothing but really good things about it. Let me see how I can bring that particular program here inside of OPPD. And so I went and I did some research again, and I was just like, "Oh, I found her."
Yay.
Michelle. And so I reached out, and one of the big push for this was really me coming into my space and trying to bring something fresh and new and fun, but that was backed by research.
Yeah.
And that had some teeth in it to bring to the leaders inside of our organization. And I felt like Personify Leadership really fit the bill, especially when I looked at our internal behavioral framework that we had already set in place.
Okay.
And this really undergirds that framework for us. And so thinking of the 8 core competencies that Personify Leadership covers, I felt like it was a perfect fit for that. And then I did something a little different as well. I didn't just want my team who's in organizational development to get certified in Personify Leadership. I wanted our human capital business partner team to also get certified in it, because they work so closely with our vice presidents and our senior leaders throughout our organization. And I really wanted this to be a partnership. So it came to us as a really good way for not only our team to develop and learn more and get something that, like I said, had research behind it, because I am like a research nerd.
Okay.
And getting them inside of it. And so I believe we got 11 people certified.
Yeah.
And now we have started rolling it out to our organization, starting with the vice presidents and their direct reports.
Okay.
And they're going through Personify right now. In addition to that, we selected about 40 individuals who are people leaders at the lower level, so manager, supervisor. They are also going through Personify Leadership as well right now.
Okay. Okay, great. And so after your initial little wave and rollout, what have been some of the feedback? What's some of the buzz that's happening internally about the program and people's experience with it?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, we've made learning fun again.
Yay. Oh, that's so great.
And this is one of the reasons why I think Personify Leadership is so amazing, because again, not only is it research backed, but it's experiential learning. It's hands-on. You're not just going into a classroom or into a setting and just listening to some people talk, to you or at you, however you want to put it.
Sure.
But it really is bringing people into full engagement and participation, which lands the concepts that Personify Leadership is teaching us through all of the activities. And I remember when we did the mind and heart, and, we start off with some very interesting activities. I don't want to give away what's going on inside of Personify. But people were like, whoa, like we know you said, CJ, to us that this was going to be different. And we were kind of like, okay, but now that we're in here, this really is different. And
Mm,
it's fun and it's engaging and the concepts make sense. You're
mm,
not teaching us something where we got to go look up in a dictionary. What does that mean? We
yeah.
got to go do our own research. It's made in such simple terms and a very easy, fun way to really deliver it. And Michelle, you have literally hit the bag with this one. Like you've knocked it out the park because everything is just there for you. And
Mm,
all we're doing is really executing the program that you put together. I've had several VPs come up to me and say, this is different and I like it. I
mm,
like that people are reflecting. I like that people are pausing. I like that people are continuing the conversation outside of our classroom that we have,
yeah.
right? Out of the classroom. And I feel like people are really starting to think about how am I, as an individual leader, showing up for my team, for my business unit, for my organization. And so I've had nothing but positive
Mm.
feedback around what we're doing this far.
That's so great to hear. I know that you've got a decent scope that you want to try to hit. You're starting out with a smaller group and then as it starts to grow. And I know another reason why you selected our program too is that we've got multiple programs and multiple solutions for a team. It's not just a one and done. And that was really fun. And now what? And I know your plan long term is to eventually add in some of the additional programs and continuing to deepen that learning that leaders have because if you just have the 1 2 day experience or spread it out over a little bit of time, it's easy to be like, that was that fun thing that we once did that one time. And then, but if you don't keep revisiting the skills or at least bringing them up again, then sometimes it can just be that thing that we did. And now what's the next new shiny object thing? And so ours, has multiple solutions to it. So I'm excited that you guys have, committed to investing in that. And I just think the importance of that and the messaging behind that is that we want to continuously grow our leaders. And I know you've got a really great strategic plan that you have for your leaders. So talk a little bit more about that and how your strategy for that is impacting even business results at OPPD.
Yes, thank you for that. When I came into my role a year ago, one of the things that I did was I took a pause and I really did a current state assessment, right? As
Mm,
coming into this space and really what have we been doing as a function around leadership development and how are we continuing to pull that thread or needle that throughout the organization. So to go back to something that you said about your particular services that you guys provide through this program really is it's scalable. And
mm,
that to me was really important. One of the things that I took notice of that I really wanted to refine our approach around was an event versus development.
mm,
And so I didn't want to bring in something that was going to feel like an event. Like, to your point, thank you, that was fun, but then we move on with our lives and we never apply
right.
anything that we learned. And that's the beauty of Personify and what you built is that it is something that when you walk away and you continue. And
Mhm.
you walk away and you have these different competencies that you can choose to create development goals around and you continue that conversation and you try to figure out how does it apply to my work, how does it apply to my team, how does it apply to my business strategy in my business unit or the visional strategy, excuse me, or at the corporate level with we have a Powering to the Future 2050 vision.
Mm,
And there are specific things inside of our strategic vision that Personify really supports. One of them is a purpose-driven culture, right?
mm,
Another one is really leadership at all levels. So not just our vice presidents and our directors, even though that's where we're starting, we're
sure.
going to pull that down throughout the organization, over the next several months. And that was really important to me. I needed a program that was almost like a one-stop shop.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's so much that we could pull out of Personify and so much scalability and opportunity there where we're looking more at what's this 3-year cycle of
Yeah.
learning versus this one-time event that we held in the month of March, or something like
Right.
that.
Sure.
And I think that's critically important to continuous learning. And so another thing in our vision is building a learning organization, and
Mm,
Personify allows us to really facilitate building a learning organization because it's not just a one-time event, it continues throughout.
yeah. Oh, that's great. I love that. And, one thing, the feedback that we get on our program too is that, we do have senior leaders, the C-suite leaders go through the program, but we also your frontline leaders also, there's something for them in the as well. And, and in your industry, in the power, industry, when you pull guys from the field or, and some of your leaders from the field and they hear they have to go do leadership training in the office, then sometimes they're like, they might do a hard eye roll or
Yeah.
kind of fold their arms like, what is this
Yeah.
stuff? And even those frontline leaders are ones that they're like, oh my gosh, this was different. I actually
Yes.
had fun while I was learning, which
Yes.
then means that they can apply it when they get back into the real world. So it really works at all levels of the organization. And
Mhm.
you localize, whatever those skills are that you're learning, you localize it for your level, whether you're a senior VP or whether you're a frontline leader. There's ready to apply skills that you can incorporate into your everyday leadership.
Yes, there's one thing I do want to say, just give an example without giving away like kind of what's in it. But we had a particular activity and that we were doing, and I love that our vice presidents are participating
Yes.
inside of these activities and they're showing up because I always say, that support is needed. We have to model the way first before we expect the entire organization to do what we're asking to do
Yeah.
go first, right? And then we anchor at the end. And so to see our vice presidents participating fully, and we had one particular activity where they got to feel almost what it was like to be an individual contributor again.
Yeah.
And I think that brought a moment for them of, oh, okay, it's been a minute since I've been in this particular kind of role or
Yeah.
how it would feel like to be in this position. And now I have to think twice about how we're doing certain things, whether that is the way we're communicating, whether that's the way that we're supporting, or we're wrapping things around people.
Yeah.
I think that really, I saw light bulbs, turning
Yeah.
on for them, and that's no pun intended since we're a power company, but
That's right.
light bulbs
Absolutely. That's a
coming
great
on.
pun.
I
Yeah.
know, right? Light bulbs coming on for them, and for them to pause and say, wait a minute, like, this is powerful.
Mm.
And I just wanted to share that with you because like to see it happen in real time was just like for me a beautiful thing because I like to see
Yeah.
when light bulbs come on for people.
Yeah. You know what I love about that is for those VPs, it starts to build perspective and empathy into
Yeah.
their role.
Yeah.
And again, and a lot of people that once they do scale and once they do reach a higher, position in the organization, sometimes you can forget. I mean, for me, it's been a couple decades since I've been
Yeah.
at that contributor level,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Yeah.
so to have those experiences that really surfaces that for you, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of all the experiential activities in the program, that each one of the modules starts out with some sort of experiential activity that naturally surfaces the behaviors that we're about to go teach skills in. And
Yeah.
it just, people lean in it a little bit differently. And
Mm-hmm.
when you get back into the classroom, you're like, oh my gosh, I totally just did that. Now, how do we
Yeah.
manage that behavior in either myself or the people that we lead? So I love that you've already had that experience and that it's going to continue cascading through the organization.
Oh yeah, me too. I think sometimes we forget how the habits that we've created or the
Mm.
preferred way that we, like doing things, just how habitual they are and they just flow. And again, this is about surfacing a lot of self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
surfacing a lot of self-awareness. I always say you can't fix what you're not, or adjust.
Yeah.
It's probably the better word than fix. You can't
Yeah.
adjust what you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And I think this is bringing a level of self-awareness to everyone who's participating to make them say, whoa, I didn't realize that that is how I was showing up. And for them to then say, well, that was a great step one, but step two is now, what can I do about it?
Yeah.
Right. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the applying comes from and the intentionality around development starts to come into play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, I'm curious for you.
Yeah.
What was I mean, it's been 6, 7 months since you actually went through the program as a
Mhm.
participant.
Yeah.
What was like a really impactful piece of self-awareness or something that you got out of the program that you started implementing once you got back into your day to day?
Oh, wow. So I'm going to say the first competency that I chose to work on, there was, you get to change it over time, but for me, it was around listening
Okay.
and the practice of active listening. And for me, it's twofold. One is because I lead a team of people, and
Hmm.
then I am in an organization where I'm essentially helping leaders lead. And I think it's really important for me to understand what's getting in the way of CJ being a really active, intentional listener.
Mm.
The other part of that, as I'll say personally, as I'm going through my doctoral program, which I only have like 10 more months left,
That's
I'm super
exciting.
excited. And it's really around leadership, but my focus is around leadership coaching.
Mm.
Listening as a coach is super important. I can't even stress that, to just be
Yeah.
able to listen and actively listen. And so me being able to bridge those two things together, what am I doing in my kind of my professional world right now? And I have my nonprofit world, right? That kind of they've emerged for me personally as an
Mm.
individual. And that one particular competency, me wrapping some developmental goals around that has served me extremely well. And me being able to go back to my team and just ask them, like, well, sharing with them first and foremost, here's my goal.
Yeah.
Now, the accountability is when you see me not moving within this goal, call me out on it, and it's
Yeah.
okay. And so just that whole, building trust with my team, building that bond with my team, that coachability with my team, it has helped me so much on so many fronts. And so for me, that was a huge win. So
Okay.
listening was my first one, and yeah, yeah,
I love it. That is so great. And the fact that you've already seen some market, like you've gotten some data from it. You've
yeah,
encouraged the feedback from your team, which also puts yourself in a little place of vulnerability, right? When you
yes,
when you openly say, okay, when you see me not demonstrating this, please give me some feedback on it. Or the opposite of that, if you do see me doing this, give me some
yeah,
feedback there too. If you actually witness a
yeah,
difference and actually see me practicing the skills
mhm,
that I am committed to working on.
yeah.
All right, so what's next? What are you excited about, or what would you tell others about Personify, and any last few comments that you want to share with our listeners?
I would say to anyone who's looking for a really amazing, thorough leadership development program that you either want to participate in or bring in house, Personify Leadership, I think, is it.
Mm.
Because again, it has the components that I think any really good leadership development program has. Number one, it is research based. Number two, it's bringing in that experiential learning factor, and it's fun. And it really is surfacing a lot of key leadership behaviors for individuals to take back and reflect upon and then act upon. So that's the
Mm.
other part, not just reflecting, but acting upon it, I think is what's solidifying the learning and the application. And we are already seeing some really positive things from the individuals who are participating in the Personify Leadership rollout inside of our organization right now. So I would say anyone who's searching for a leadership development program for their organization, I highly recommend taking a look at Personified Leadership, just because it's also scalable as well. And then
Yeah.
Michelle, you and your team are just amazing to work with.
Oh,
It's so easy and so amazing to work with. So yeah.
thank you. Yeah, we try. I mean, we're in the business of making humans better humans. And so, we'll do everything in our power to help you be successful, because in the end, that's reciprocal. It makes us successful at the same time. So, but truly what empowers us and what kind of keeps moving us forward too is hearing stories like yours that, like you have some set milestones of culture change, of
Mhm.
of
Yep.
of really rolling great leadership skills out to the organization. And so to hear that our program is already making some of those changes and that impact in your organization is just exciting for us. And we love sharing that message with others as well, just so that it also encourages other people to kind of give it a look and see what kind of impact it could make in their organizations as well.
Absolutely. And I look forward to continuing to roll this out to our leaders at the manager and supervisor level and the team lead level, because they are closer to employees.
Yeah.
And I really think that we're going to see a lot of benefits coming out of that particular group of leaders. And I look forward to seeing that happen. Like I said, I like to see people grow and develop and have those light bulb moments come on. The other part that I'm looking forward to is, what's in the future as far as what's the next thing with Personify Leadership. And I know you're working on a couple of really good things there, and I'm super excited about it. And so I'm looking forward to just continuing the journey with this particular program.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us, sharing your story, because it helps us, it helps you, and I can't wait to see and hear additional reports on how it continues to impact your leaders at OPPD.
Yeah, thank you.